Yeah, it's whatever is arising, talking about the movie, discussing about anything, laughing, thinking, remembering, forgetting. It's just already what is this appearing as that. The talking itself and the thinking itself, remembering itself is already empty. There is no one behind it who's remembering. There's no one talking. There's no one laughing. It's just laughing happening, talking happening, remembering happening. It's already what, it's already this, which is nothing, appearing as that. So this as it is already meaningless, but it can be given different meanings. Even the meanings themselves, it's already this arising as meanings. It may appear to say, oh, this means that, oh, there's gonna be this and that, you know. So that's not to say that is an evidence that there's a separation. There's no separation. Everything is already this. Even when it appears to be different, it's already this. There is no one doing just this, you know. There is already no story. There is already no separate self in the story. Yet it may appear as a story. It may appear as what seems to be the separate self, but there's no real separate self. There's no real story. It's just this vastness expressing as that. So the you who's looking for this can never really find this because it doesn't exist. It's just already vastness appearing as a you looking for this, looking for vastness, if I may say. So there's really nobody to find this, and this can never really be found because it's already here. Not here in the sense of location, because this as it is, it doesn't have any location. It doesn't have any sense. There's no sensor. What seems to be the sensor is just an imagination appearing in this. The seer is already not there. So there's already no seer to collapse or to fall away. That which seems to be meditating, that which seems to be looking for this is already not there. It's just already this. So there's no real Charles. There's no real Ngozi. It's just already vastness appearing as Charles, appearing as Ngozi. The separate Charles, the separate Ngozi is already not there. It's this appearing as that. So this doesn't mind, there may be a meditation happening. There may be mantras being recited. There may be what seems to be an apparent journey happening. And that as well can be enjoyed. But it's not an evidence that there's a real separate self who's doing that. It's just already that which is being longed for appearing as that. So there's really nothing to do about this. If it seems as if there is something to do about this, it's already this appearing as that. Appearing to say, oh, I think there's something to do. If I can meditate, if I can go to a certain area, I will eventually find what I'm looking for. It's already that which is being looked for appearing as that. So there's no wrong or right here. There's really nothing to do. There's really nothing to achieve. There's really nowhere to get to. There's really nobody to fall away or to collapse. Because there's just everything already. That which is being longed for is already this. It's already here. Is already everything. And there's no one to find it. There's no one to get it. There's no one to understand it. There's just it. You can call it an it, or you can call it this. You can say it's God, chicken, monkey, doesn't matter. It may even arise to say, no, this is not God. Another one may appear to say, this is a donkey, this is a chicken. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change this. Some may say this is awareness. This is consciousness. It doesn't matter. It can never, the words themselves can never really change this, what is, Yet this is appearing as words.
Lately, I've been thinking about the medium from which it all arises. You know this word medium? Like, so medium means a lot of different things, but medium can mean like paper is the medium of a book, right? The television is the medium of a television show, Film is the medium of a movie. It's what they call like the material from which the information passes. Yeah. I've been thinking about like this is the medium. Everything that you're saying is this, and the medium is the real thing, right? And everything here is just one medium from which everything arises, like words on a paper. But it's the paper
Yeah.
that's real, and the words are not real. And the medium is solid. When I focus on it as thinking of it as a medium, I don't know how that word occurred to me, but it feels very solid.
Yeah,
And when you concentrate on that,
exactly.
something I just like, so a lot of times I look down the forest, right? I look at the forest, patch of trees in the distance, and then it just becomes very solid. Everything becomes very solid. And that's what I
Yes.
focus on for my meditation lately.
Yes.
Like the medium
Yes,
of
it's
this conversation is
yeah.
this computer. It's the computer that's real. Everything else is just transitory, not real.
Mm, mm. Yeah, it is solid. It is solid. It's more solid than what seems to be solid. It's deathless. It's it's the unborn. It's never been born. It's just there. There's no death to it. There's no birth to it. It's just there. It's not a human being, not a man or a woman. Doesn't have any agenda, gender. It's not waiting. It's not expecting. It's not looking. It's not trying. It's not seeking. It's not an appearance. It's just is. Can never be pointed at. There's no one to point to it because there's only it. So everything else is an appearance in it. But itself as it is not an appearance. It's nothing. Yet it seems to be solid. And there's nothing separate from it. The talking is it talking. Thinking is it thinking. Wondering is already it's wondering. Blinking is already it's blinking. Waiting, expecting. But that can be seen as just an appearance as well. But the appearance is not separate from it. It's beyond any description. Even these words that are being used here, they can never really describe this. They can be seen as just concepts. Even to say this is consciousness or this is spaciousness, doesn't really mean anything. It's already here, even when those words are not spoken. It's already what it is. So it doesn't depend on the words being spoken for it to be what it is. Yet that which seems to be speaking is already it. May happen to dream itself as being separate from itself, being on a journey to find none other than itself. Yeah, it's already not separate. There's no movement, but there can be a movement, an apparent movement, but it's not the real movement. It's just distancing. I am George. I'm a teacher. I grew up in a certain location. It's just this saying that already. There's no real George who's the teacher.
Who is George, teacher?
Maybe he will eventually listen to this.
You know, if you go down to the atomic level, the atom has got protons and electrons. I don't know what your education is. I don't know if this big. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I think you once mentioned it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the protons are much bigger than the electrons. And there's a special, basically there's positive charges and negative charges within them, and then sort of losing the negative charge and having extra positive charges and so forth is the glue which holds objects together. And if they don't have that charge, they're sort of free to roam about like gases in the air. Right. So at the atomic level, there's these two different things, the positive and negative charges. The conventional wisdom is that the negative charge swirls around the proton. And if you look at it, it looks almost like, the sun and the planets, right? Proton's much bigger than the electron, and the electron's swirling around, and it goes around, can go around anywhere. And what they figured out was at some point you can do math with predicting where those electrons will be and make things based on predicting where those electrons will be by saying, well, it's not something moving, it's just a probability cloud. It's one solid thing around the proton, and it's got a probability distribution around it. It's a probability distribution. It's got a likelihood of being in any one place, but it's really solid, And if you treat it as if it's solid, the math works out. And not only does it work out, it works out in a way that you can make things that are very small. And that's what Mitchell's degree is in, nanotechnology engineering, this predicting of this cloud. So this idea of a probability cloud that is solid seems extremely profound to me. After all, these are the building blocks of everything, right? This is the plus in the mind. This is the medium. This is the electrical medium. And within the very smallest of these objects, it holds the potential for all of the different combinations. And it's just one thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as below, so above, right? It's a probability cloud. It holds possibility for everything, but it's one solid thing that encapsulates all of the different permutations of everything. You know,
Yeah.
that's how I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Those are the words.
It is like that. Yeah. It is exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's just this which can never really be seen, appearing as everything moving, flying, trees, wind, thunderstorms, people talking, you know. So it's seen like that. It's but then they as well, anything may arise, as we were saying right now, anything may arise. And there may be stories as well that are arising from that as well. But there are no real stories. It's just they're all imagined, by no one. It's already everything moving, talking. You Nothing matters, really. Yet it may seem to matter in the story when the stories are imagined, arising as well. Say, oh, there are many people today in the markets. It's a very busy day. Maybe it's a paid day. Those are just those stories. They mean nothing. Just but itself as it is, as it happens, it's meaningless. But many different meanings can be say, oh, this happening because of that is it doesn't really matter. It's already as it is, it's already meaningless. The meaning may be created by what seems to be individuals or different individuals apparently. Each person may come up with a different meaning. Oh, this means this means that. It's all just nothing. It's nothing. And when the attention is just on this, is focused on this as it is, not on the specific individual or things,
Yeah.
it can be seen that it's just already this doing everything, talking, making a sound. So nothing really matters. Doesn't matter. It may seem to matter in the story. So, so I don't like this, the crowd of people. I don't like, that's just a story. It's this as well arising as that or appearing as that. So the recognition that there's just this can even happen in a very busy area, the markets, where people are shouting and just, you know, uh, It doesn't have to be in a quiet place where there is no
Yeah.
noise. Yet there's nobody to recognize this. The recognition happens in the same way as thinking happens. There's no thinker of thoughts. Even what seems to be the thinker is just thinking happening. There's no thinker. When the recognition happens, it's just recognition happening. It doesn't happen to anybody. But there's already nobody to recognize this. There's just this. So here, the desire to seek, to find, it doesn't arise. If they're still seeking, that can be allowed as well to happen until it doesn't arise anymore. And this doesn't suggest that they should stop. It doesn't say, oh, stop this, do this. And things are just allowed to be as they are. The seeking may still continue until it's exhausts itself and falls away or stops.
Or gets bored.
Sorry?
Or gets bored. I mean, boredom seems like a very key portal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Get bored of imagining things, get bored of being upset, get bored of chasing things, get bored of being afraid.
yeah, exactly.
Set it down.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, things, as you're saying, things can eventually exhaust themselves. The seeking can exhaust itself in a sense of being bored, tired of doing this.
Yeah.
Then when the recognition happens, it's like, ah, what a joke.
Do you know what do you know what a psychotic is? Someone who's psychotic?
Psychotic. I've heard that word being spoken, but I've never heard it. I mean, I never
So
understood it.
there's people, lots of people. I don't know, like maybe one out of every 100 or two people who has no empathy, can't relate with people.
Yeah.
And there's men and women, and the men and the women behave very differently. But men, I mean, they can kind of go either way. They can become ruthless killers, or they can become heads of corporations. Because because they don't care if they hurt you.
Yeah.
But at the core, it's all a game to them, you know. And at the core, they often talk about survival of the fittest and seeing everything as a game. And at the core, nothing matters. Just nothing matters to them. You know, even their own security, in a sense, doesn't matter too much to them as much as other people. So they've got can be very risky in their behavior. So there's lots of these people out there, right? And you know, they become like normal, they mirror normal people. They learn to mirror normal people's behavior. uh, to get along in society, you know, to pretend like they care. Oh, how's your daughter doing? Or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. But the strange thing is that sort of ambivalence, that sort of detachment.
Mm.
It's the same detachment as the mystic. You know, the mystic and the psychotic, the enlightened one and the psychotic one have a lot in common. You know, when you get right down to it.
Mm.
So I would say the difference is love, right? The difference is love.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's true. You know, here there is unconditional love. There is compassion, you know, because everything is already this appearing. So this somehow, when compassion arises, it just arises for itself. So in a way, so the bad treatment or what seems to be an individual doesn't arise here. It's just, you know, there's so much apparent care, love, you know, love for the apparent expression. So it's, you know, to some, you know, it may, you know, I think this expresses differently according to different apparent characters. Some may appear to be very rough, very harsh when they talk, but you know, that's how it expresses in that apparent character. But here, yeah, there is that softness, you know, the way the approach itself is polite. Yeah, it doesn't say, no, this is just a play. No, I'll do whatever I want because there are no people. These people, they think they're somebodies. So they're not enlightened. I'm the one who's enlightened. No. That's still the the apparent separate self or ego, if I may say. ego, expressing there. All this expressing as ego. So this is so innocent. That which seems to be looking from behind those eyes and even beyond is so innocent. So the looking itself is not a man, it's not a woman, it's just, it seems to be local, yet it's beyond. It's more like eyes without the mind being attached. Eyes only, formless eyes without the mind being attached, just there.
Yeah.
It's already the case. There's really nothing to be done. There's nothing that can be done there that can make you lose or find this, because there's just this already. This can never be lost, because in the first place it was never found, and there's nobody to find it. Finding or losing is just a story appearing in this. This is beyond finding or losing. This is beyond birth and death. This is beyond doing or not doing. Yet it appears as that. So there's already no one who's sitting on the chair or sitting on the bed there. There can be an imagination that I'm sitting. There may be something that seems to say I'm sitting on the bed, I'm sitting on the chair, watching the computer. But there's nobody there. That's an uh, empty thinking. There's emptiness behind it.
Yeah.
There's nobody behind it who's really there. It's just a body which at any time may be obliterated, but life itself as it is can never be obliterated. Life doesn't depend on the body for it to be what it is. It may express in the body, yet when the body gets destroyed, life remains. The body was born and the body dies, but life was never born, therefore it never dies. Life is not a certain somebody. It's not a certain woman or a man. Life is just life. Life is everything. Life is not afraid of anything. Life is unconditional love. So thinking itself is appearing in this and disappearing. But this doesn't appear or disappear. This is already what it is. It's already here without making any efforts. It's already here even before the question arises. It's already here even before any thinking may happen. It's already here before any story may arise. It's effortless and obvious already to itself. Doesn't require any efforts. So I would suggest that this week, if you find time, just sit and make absolutely no efforts to do anything or to be anything or become anything. Just make no efforts. Just allowing things to float by, allowing things to play out in the mind to be as crazy as it can be, but just be what you are. Don't make any efforts to grab any story, to grab anything. Just allow be like the sky, where clouds, white clouds and black clouds float by. They're not directed. There's no traffic police for the clouds. So they to direct them to a certain.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just allow everything to play out, but without grabbing, trying to get hold of something or a story. Just be, simply be. And make no efforts to do anything. Just because there's that tendency to,
There is.
because of the conditioning to make efforts. I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
I am, after all, an American. That's good homework. All right, Nkosi, I'm gonna let you go. At your calls. Thank you.
Okay.
Talk
Yeah,
to you next
okay.
week.
Okay.